Pa kondu jong dong yerme pa gun garab dur jijin drug pa jeti dang ni sume pa pa lamanam che tinte chong. So, not in front of me, is it? Ba-dum. So double count the different bardos, which require different things to recognize your own innate enlightenment while in them. The first bardo, the Dharmata. If you are a Mahamudra practitioner or a Mahāti practitioner, this bardo may not be actually that difficult. The way you would learn that is to simply relax in a physical position in which your channels are straight. So cross-legged, Japanese kneeling position, chair sitting with your feet on the ground and your legs uncrossed, however you like to do it. But you want it so it holds you, supports you nicely and straight, your channels. You want to not touch your teeth to each other. So no jaw clenching here. For those who grind their teeth, stick a little bit of tongue in between so you don't do that by accident. Now, in Mahamudra, your eyes follow the line of your nose outward and down to an imaginary point right where they fall. In Mahāti, your eyes are straight ahead, focused on a point 2 meters in front of your nose, and then they unfocus. The muscles that control the lens, the focus of the lens, relax. So I was asked to show this in the Mahamudra, so they're down a little. You still relax your point focus because you are not doing resting in stillness, shine, seat of stillness, with an object. You are doing stillness without an object. In your mind, there are thoughts, feelings, noticement of sensations of the body, of the 6 senses, perceptions, all of this, they are moving. Just as my hand moves through space, but space does not move. So all of this moving moves through mind, which does not move. Allow your attention, which is movable, to shift from all that which is moving, thoughts, feelings, perceptions, sensations, diddly bits, minutiae, plans, hopes, fears. Shift from all of that, releasing the point focus which is necessary to pay attention to that. And relaxing into the stillness of mind itself. Stillness has never moved. It lacks any substance within it to do such a thing as move. Stillness. Relax your attention, which moves. Let go of its focus on the moving, shift its focus to the vastness of the stillness in which the moving dances. That stillness. Indescribable, ineffable, inconceivable, for thoughts and feelings are little bitty moving things within the vast emptiness of the stillness. Relax into the stillness. Shine, seat of stillness. Sit in stillness. If your moving is bothering you, take a deep breath in through your nose and blow out slowly through your mouth to settle the chi in your channels. Thoughts ride the chi. And relax in the no movement of no thing. The first bardo is simply this: to relax totally into the stillness until, since there is no body to hold you back, having sensations, producing hormones and brain chemicals, it is easier here to let go of the dance of moving and relax into the stillness which has never moved. The unborn, undying stillness, mother luminosity of ground, alive, awake, aware, for you are this. But no thing, no one. Shine. In the first bardo, if you can truly abandon yourself to this by having practiced it in your life, so that you are content and satisfied as stillness in stillness. Awake, aware, but not aware of any thing. Subject and object are irrelevant. They only involve the moving. this very practice, shine without an object, which in and of itself, when the nature of the moving is recognized as not other than the stillness, and the awareness is both and neither. If in your practice you have done this and you do it frequently, creating a pattern within yourself of it, then surely you will reach liberation in the first bardo. But if by chance you do not, and you find yourself coming to consciousness as yourself in your home place, among your friends and family who cannot hear you or see you, recognize that you are in the second bardo. Here, in the second bardo, what is important is to realize that you have the power, even if you have been a most horrible, vicious person previously. For these few moments, judgment is not occurring. Your karmic pattern is not adhered to you. You haven't lost it. Like a bird that flies up from a ship and circles around, whenever it lands again on the ship, its shadow will come together with it. So karma will return to you, but for a moment, you got a chance to cheat in case you were awful, or even committed some of the heinous sins. By your faith in the love, the totality of love of the energy of awareness, the glue that keeps phenomena together, keeps it rolling on through a time-space continuum. By the energy of that, which some call God's love, as we are all part of that, but by the grace of that, there are pure lands, places you can go to continue to learn, to continue to release your crap, your karma, your issues. And in doing so, find awareness of beyond the beyond. The awareness recognizes its own nature, and mother and child luminosity unite. For this to happen, you need to make a choice, and you need to remember to do this. So it needs to have been a daily practice, something that you automatically do, automatically think of. Be it Chenrezig or Tara's Pure Land, Chenrezig's Pure Land, Amitabha's Pure Land, which is the pure land of pure awareness, is considered the easiest to access. Even if you have no certainty or trust in the Dharma, even if you are consumed by doubts in the process of your death, which happens to people sometimes. Don't deny it. Could happen to any one of us. You know those days. So in that moment, The mantra, the key to the pure land of incomparable light. Om Ami Deva Hri. Repeat after me. Om Ami Deva Hri. Om Ami Deva Hri. Om Ami Deva Hri. Say a few with me, and imagine the bright light where the sun has gone after this behind the sunset. Om Ami Deva Hri, 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 Om Ami Deva Hri. Om Ami Deva Hri, 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 Om Ami Deva Hri. This is a safe place of rest created by all Buddhas of the fourth time for all Buddhas on their way to the fourth time who haven't quite made the jump yet. There are different levels of Pure Land of Amitabha. If you are in doubt, flailing around there in the bardo, but you remember the mantra and you say it, and you think, Amitabha Opamela Tsagsalo, with reverence to Opame, incomparable great light. Help. If you think this, immediately you are drawn to a land where there is a single gender, so none of the conflicts that multiple genders cause around here. Dharma is the basic philosophy there. This Dharma. So not religious conflicts. People are born in a lotus flower, so none of the troubles of reproduction and the pains of giving birth. None of that which we worry about around here. Those who are frightened or in doubt, the bud remains closed for a long time, protecting them in a cozy warmth, while teachings of the sort that they like, that they want, come to them as in dreams within the bud, until they are ready, until they feel ready, until they choose to bloom and step forth. The land is like a beautiful garden, and yet the trees are made of translucent, jewel-like wood. Translucent, jewel-like leaves. It's very beautiful. Fountains everywhere, benches to sit on. Food is just basically available. Vegetarian. There is no killing here in order to live. So it's an easy place to practice, super easy. It is well contained. There is no danger of leaving before you want to. There is a sky, but there is a net over the top, making it impossible for one to fall out without choice and readiness. So this is the first level of Amitabha's Pure Land. It's suited for the smallest child, where they can grow up in peace. It is suited to anyone full of uncertainty, where they can relax and find peace and slowly work the kinks out of their personality. There is another Amitabha Pure Land behind that one, of pure light of awareness. In the Tibetan system, Awareness is light, just as in Mahamudra. There is this great joke, debate, as to whether the mind is like the space sky or whether the mind is the space sky. If you are much trained in Mahamudra, you will see that joke of that debate. So in the same way, is light awareness, or is light the symbol of awareness? Are the photons awake and aware? Are they the smallest particle of life which aggregate together to make up our life? Well, you know, if there's been an experiment where you shoot photons at a photon splitter as particles, but they have the choice of being a wave or a particle. They go through as particles until you turn the splitter on. They immediately switch to waves. You can measure it in the screen afterwards. Do they have a survival reflex? Are photons the tiniest bit of aliveness of which we are made, just as matter is made of quarks and gluons, which come apart into some things I can't remember the name of? This is all playing with the moving of thoughts. But I'm trying to show you, to point for you, that behind the form of Amitabha's Pure Land, which is well known and described, there is a light, incomparable great light, an awareness, a aliveness, a vitality of love. That vitality is what manifests in this world as Buddhas, as Buddha statues, as miraculous occurrences, is the manifestation of that light. Your teachers, whoever they are, may be considered, it's of benefit to you to consider them, a manifestation of that light. Don't confuse that with the personality they're wearing, please. That will cause issues. No, the teachings are a manifestation of the light. And that light, if you merge with, you attain full liberation in the Pure Land of Amitabha on the moment of entering. And you are in the same condition, place, as if you had attained liberation in the first bardo. There are other Pure Lands. Most of them you have to have reached a certain level to get in. On my website, there is a text which you can print out. If you wrap it in silken cloth, when someone is, and it is the Amitabha text that describes the outer Pure Land. And when someone is dying, you circle it clockwise above their head 3 times and tap their crown chakra. It's as good as doing POA. It will knock them into Amitabha's Pure Land. It will create the cause that they will fall into that. If you want it, just go to my website. It should be downloadable. And then cut the paper out. And I used to carry them with me, but I have found that I cannot carry as much paper as I used to. So now it's all there for downloading. As my body weakens, the internet strengthens, so it's about even. We can do about the same amount, just different ways. That's your second bardo. Do we have any questions about the first or the second bardo?
The first bardo is what you call the T word. I can't remember what you...
Dharmata?
Yeah.
Dharmata is Chuni.
Yeah, and...
Bardo of Chuni.
Why is it beneficial to stay in that state for a longer period?
No, you don't leave that state. ever. No, that's not right. You dissolve in that state and you enter into being a ray of light, just like Guru Rinpoche and all the other manifestations that wander around here assisting your practice. Don't think all these people are people. Some of them are. Some of the bugs that buzz your head are manifestations of the Buddha. You just don't know which ones. So it's safe to assume everything is. Y'all are. Well, it's true, y'all are. You just haven't noticed yet. That's not a big problem for me. Doesn't bother me. You'll notice eventually, so we're cool. Does that answer your question?
Maybe.
You become what enlightenment is. You don't leave that state.
Okay. Why is it remarkable then when people stay in that state longer? Like you described, your teacher staying in that state for...
It is a sign. Anything above 3 days or above a couple of days. I had one student manage about 6 hours, 8 hours, which is still pretty good. That's enough. He's out. He's good. It is a sign for those left behind. The longer you stay in the state, the more likely I think you're going to leave ring cell and other relics. When you're cremated, there's these little jewel-like pearls that get left around. Like my teacher had them all over the place. The roofs were covered with them. It was like it hailed. So I think the longer you stay in Trekcha, the more likely you are to leave relics for others to have enjoyment of. It inspires people. So it's not particularly that important for you. It's for them.
Thank you.
Other questions? We have one in the back.
Yep.
Can we do one online?
Yes, after him.
You've talked a lot about the bardo, and I tried to, look up what the definition was and was kind of more confused. So I was wondering if, to the best of your ability, if you would be able to describe or define what the bardo is.
Bardo means gap. Space in between. There's a lot of them. There's the space in between waking and waking, called the bardo of dreams. There's the space in between sleeping, called the bardo of awake, or bardo of waking. The space between lives, called the bardo of death. There's more. Who remembers the list of bardos? Come on. Scholar, please. Oh, okay. You didn't happen to read that there's like a bunch of them? They're gaps between this and that. There's the bardo between thoughts, bardo of meditation, bardo between moments. Any gap is called a bardo. That's the meaning of the word.
Thank you.
So when you're getting on the subway and the recording says, mind the gap, let it remind you a bit of practice. You have an online person.
Yeah, we had a question. If we meditate on Amitabha as refuge to Pure Land, is it the same on meditating on Christ consciousness, or are they different?
I'm afraid that I was not raised or trained in Christianity. I could take a guess and say probably tastes the same. But I'm not speaking from knowledge or experience. I was not raised Christian, pagan, all along. Secular humanist, actually. So your guess is as good as mine on that. Other questions on the first two bardos? Yes. We're going to get her first then.
Sorry, I'm just collecting my thoughts because I had a question and then another one came in. Let me think.
Be a bit louder for me.
Well, I'll go piggyback off that one. Is this working? With regard to what I believe was the fourth bardo.
No, we're only on the first two questions on the first two
I'll stick
bardos
to
now.
the
I'm going to
first-
get to the fourth.
Okay, so I'll save that one then.
Save it.
Okay, so you mentioned this in the Pure Land, what sounded just this beautiful space, almost like a warming, like a nest for like a baby chick or something.
Yeah.
To hatch and kind of gather their bearings. And then you also mentioned that once one was ready, there's this net that would catch you if you're not ready to make the leap, but I'm assuming that at some point is
You can
implied that
choose when
are.
you feel ready to be reborn for the sake of sentient beings in a place where someone is needed.
So that's the metaphor you're creating, is that net is actually the choice to take on rebirth.
No, the
after-
net's to protect you from accidentally doing it too soon,
Okay.
from getting in trouble and falling out. It makes it safer. The sky is very big there.
Right.
Like go out on the prairie and look how big the sky is. You could sort of worry about falling out sometimes. So there's like this nice, safe, jeweled net across the top so that accidents can't happen. There's no accidents that can happen there. It's very, very safe. All the corners are sort of rounded so you won't bump your shins.
Well, it sounds lovely, actually. I'm like,
It is when you're exhausted from all this crap. And that's where my teacher said he was going. He said, I'm tired. I've done a lot of stuff. I've seen new stuff in my life. It's been totally amazing. I'm fucking tired. I'm going to Dewa Chen, and I'm staying there a while, so don't be looking for me real soon.
Well, there is something I wonder about, though, because people speak of rainbow body and, of course, the first bardo as something to aspire to, but the Pure Land actually.
I think for you, the Pure Land would be the correct choice.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
If you feel it to be what attracts you, you will from there eventually, in eons, in whenever you feel like it, understand what rainbow body is and are able to choose it. You can do that from there without all the crap it takes to do it from here. Look at, getting burned at the stake and this and that, and then there he was, no clothes on. The king had to give him his clothes, and if you want to do it more easily, do it from Dewa Chen.
Okay. And I had another question that I'll save because I have a feeling you're going to talk about it, is with regard to the elements and working with
That's coming next.
Yeah, to turn them into wisdoms.
Yes.
Yeah, that feels important. Yeah, thank you.
Someone back there. We'll do an online one and then you're up.
So the question is, how does the bardo work out for those who have taken the bodhisattva vow? Do we get to tap out from time to time?
Yep. That's Dewa Chen. That's tapping out from time to time. I've had enough. That's what Rinpoche said. I've done all these things. I've built a monastery for someone. I've built this statue for sentient beings. I've meditated. I've had students. I've been all over the world. I'm tired now. I need a vacation. I'm going to Dewa Chen, and I'm going to hang out there until I'm done. See, Dewa Chen is not exactly in the time-space continuum. It's in one of the other 9 dimensions, other of the 9 dimensions. Time-space continuum is only the first 4. So you can be there for 1,000 years resting, and then turn up here in 10 years, 20 years. You're not bound by time. I mean, even here, there's retreats I teach and methods where you can clear up trauma in past lives and change the past. Can't change the phenomena of the past, but you can change how you and others felt during that phenomena. But I'm not going to try to explain all of that now. That's part of the Chenrezig cycle. It's not one I do online, so you'll have to catch me on an in-person retreat for a week or 10 days to do that. I do them, sometimes down in New Orleans, which is the closest for you guys. Now, someone back here has a microphone and a question.
Is the experience, is it possible to have experience, direct experience of the Pure Land while alive, maybe through meditation?
More likely on the edge of sleep in the dream time. In fact, there are dream yoga methods of going to Pure Lands in the dream time. It's one of the things you do with lucid dreaming as part of the whole teaching cycle of dream yoga. And you would go to a Pure Land there. During meditation, you can have, but it still stays, when you get it during during meditation, almost as a transmission, it stays translucent. Whereas if you do it in the dream time, it feels more real.
And after death, if you find yourself in the second Dharma, the second bardo, is it enough to just have the intention of going to a Pure Land, or do you have to?
You need the key.
And the key is the mantras?
The key is the mantra and the word Opame or Amitabha, or incomparable light in English. Or, I don't know, what's the bigger word than incomparable? Without equivalency. Superlative light. What? Not quite. Maybe superlative light? Unsurpassed light, there you go, would be the English name. Lord of unsurpassed light, take me with you. Show me the way to get there. The analogy that is traditionally given is that the universe is full of hooks, little hooks sent by Amitabha to grab sentient beings, but if they don't have a loop, he can't do it. But the mantra makes a loop. Calling his name makes a loop. And his hook from his side grabs you through the loop and pulls you there. If you wish to play with this a bit, go to sleep saying the mantra. See if he'll grab you for the dream time. Now, I want to add, this is not the only Pure Land, it's just easy. Other Pure Lands, certain ones, you have to have reached the first bhumi of a bodhisattva. Some of them, you have no choice about when you're going to come back and do stuff. Some of them have a variety of genders, maybe even more than 2, and all sorts of intricacies that entities get up to with that. Guru Rinpoche's Pure Land has pointy bits. But for those of us who happen to be liking pointy bits on occasion, it's one of the possibilities. So you might want to go fool around on the internet a little bit, remembering to salt the information unless it's from a reliable source, and read up on the different Pure Lands. Since you need to make a plan while you're still alive and young, and then make it a daily practice, even if it's just a few mantras. Whatever is the key to your Pure Land, you want to just pick one. So I showed you Amitabha's Pure Land in words. I pointed at it for you. But there are many others. It's not going to be something I can point at each one of them in the scope of this teaching. You got to go fish around yourself or ask Matt what he knows of. Maybe he can reference you to certain sites that are reliable, because there's just as much crap out there on Dharma as there is on medicine. Okay? And fishing through and deciding which is which can be problematic unless you have quite a range of knowledge. I trust myself to fish through. But proceed with caution. Nonetheless, it's a valuable resource. Other questions? Somebody asked to remind you that you were going to do Mahamudra pointing out. I just did. What do you think the first part was? Done.
We have a question.
If you missed it, listen to the tape.
We have a question. Can you speak about Dharmakaya Poa? Is the recognition of liberating beings by simply stay in Trekchud?
Let's see if I can fish through that question and understand it. I am not a Poa expert, so I cannot speak to you about Poa. I am not qualified to teach it. I recommend you learn it from a qualified teacher. There's a few things that I have practiced and studied, but didn't do the finals on. Poa, I did the finals, but I still don't think I can teach it. For instance, inner heat. Yeah, I studied it, but by the time I finished my practices, spring was here. So I couldn't do the finals. You have to do it in winter in the snow, where you dry all these sheets, naked in the snow, and I couldn't do it because it was springtime. And then by the time it got to be winter again, I was off on a different practice. So I never did my finals in that, so I'm not qualified to teach it. Yeah, I know it, but it's different. I'm very old-fashioned. That's why I wear a dark shemdok instead of a white one, because I'm not qualified as a Repa. Oh, maybe sometime I'll go back and take the final, do it for a while, get it going again, and then do the finals in some snowy place. Other questions?
So we have my question is, my father was a practitioner most of his life. Right before he died, he did not want anything to do with Buddhist practice. Why is that?
I don't know. I don't know your father. However, I have no idea why your father felt that way. It would depend on what had happened to him within Buddhism and whether he had come upon a stupid Dharma rumor that really bothered him. Boy, there's some weird ones out there. No, truly. Or a teaching from a teacher that had certain aversions and thought that that meant they were against Dharma rather than the teacher just didn't like it, the way garlic got to be the only sin and it's not even a verb. One teacher really hated garlic and wrote a lot about it. So there's a few other things like that that could have turned somebody off if they hadn't advanced far enough to recognize just how much humor you need to be a practitioner. Of course there's bathwater on the babies. Next question.
We have a question. Can Lama Lena give the lung for an aspiration prayer to the copper-colored mountain?
No, because I don't have one right in front of me among texts. You'd have to pitch me that in advance. Or where I was with all my books and could go look it up. Unless you have one. Yeah. To do this, you need the text, and no, I don't have it on me. Shall I go on and tell you about the third bardo? Oh, you had a question first.
Will you have the time to do any private audiences? Not this time.
I don't have really the energy. Are you in one of my groups?
I listen all the time.
Well, you're welcome to join into one of the groups, and you actually get to talk with me every month. They're there available if you have, more. And you can come up at the end here when people are done doing their thing and talk to me for a few minutes. But I'm not going to do a private audience, because if I do one, I got to do 50. It's just going to happen, and that I know I don't have. So just come up at the end, and we'll talk a bit about things.
I remember talking about when we Rinpoche, we did the overcoming the fear of sickness and death in the Himalayas, and something that jumped out when you were talking about the different bardos was when we were traveling, he gave us instruction to, if there's a vibration in the airplane, and I might be misconstruing this, and lean your head on it, then that's very similar to the dying process. Is that anything that rings a bell to you?
That's his personal memories from last time he died, that he experienced that buzzing vibration in his head. I'm looking at, no, might have been, sometimes you feel like a groaning or buzzing when the earth element absorbs, especially depending on the illness and things. But that's not everybody all the time. That would be one of his. A lot of times, we remember a few of our deaths and going through the bardo, and we can say, well, it felt like this, but it doesn't always feel exactly like that for everybody. Or you wouldn't describe it that way. That's like Chandatuku's hitting an air pocket and thinking his mind had moved. Draw the attention up to the top of the head. It's better to, well, you can download this text also, which is excellent for that. Especially, don't do it to someone who doesn't want you to. It creates a conflict in them, which causes problems. You don't want to create that level of disturbance, potential angry, fear of the devil. So if you've got someone who's really, there's only one reality and it's Christian, don't bunk them with Amitabha. If you can bunk them with a Jesus statue, do it. But what you don't want to do is make them angry in this moment because it doesn't go with their belief system. So it's just a warning of this gentle kindness for people. Because I know in this part of the country you got a lot of people who are very suri, opposite of rime. My lineage is the only reality, and you have to be gentle with them, not offend them, because anger's bad for you. So anyway, the third bardo, which we call the bardo of the Dhyani Buddhas. The Dhyani Buddhas are the pattern of Homo sapienness. The 51 Homo sapien emotions. Kurukuli, necklace of 51 flowers blooming. Vajrayogini, necklace of 51 dried skulls. Dorji Pogmo, necklace of 51 moist heads. Severed heads. Each of these is the symbols of the transformation of the 5 poisons. Remember the 5 poisons. This is going to be fear and anger are a single thing. It's rare that you're angry at someone who didn't scare you. They cut you off in traffic. You almost hit them. Now you're pissed. Fear and anger flip back and forth. We're trained by society, and most of us guys are trained to flip fear into anger real quick. Don't ever let them see you're scared. Hit them so they don't see that you're scared. I mean, you learn that in the schoolyard in 1st grade. And most women are conditioned to, oh, anger is very unbecoming. So if you really get pissed at someone, you say, he frightens me. Keep him away from me. Go do something bad to him, he frightened me. Rather than I'm going to get the motherfucker. But it's conditioning. It's this particular culture. It's different in some other cultures. Italians have it a bit different. Women are welcome to be angry. Go ahead, hit him. Hit him back. Culture. within this, fear and anger are considered singular as a poison. And they're considered to be in the eastern direction, and air element. Southern direction, earth element, yellow in color, is considered to be pride and avarice. You know, each one of you has a thing that you cannot fill. You'll never have enough. Money, time. If you're in the middle of your life, I bet you it's time at the moment. If you're young, it's probably money. Or maybe it's love. Or maybe it's status. Or maybe it's respect. With me, it's surface area. I never have enough surfaces to put stuff down on. They're all full. But everybody's got one. That's the southern direction, that hole that you can't fill. It's the earth element. In the west, element of fire, red in color, is lust and loneliness and all the hopes and fears entangled in the mating urge. This one, but not that one. I like bad boys. Whatever lumps and quirks you have entangled in your mating urge, that's all in the western direction in the fire element. Northern direction is water element, green in color, and it's all the competitivenesses and the jealousies. Space in the middle is blue in color, and it's simple sadness, depression, sloth, exhaustion, overwhelmedness. These are the 5 poisons of Homo sapiens. They are the pattern of the 5 elements of which in this realm we appear to be made. Elements mean states of matter, not elemental table. So you have solid, you have liquid, you have air, you have, or gaseous, you have pure energy, you have space containing them. So this pattern is all over the place in Dharma. It repeats itself in the mandala of 21, in the Sajipuki, the short mandala. It repeats itself every place. You'll see it all over the place. The symbol is the Dhyani Buddhas, Vajrasattva, Amoghasiddhi, Opame, Amitabha, Ratnasambhava, and Kuntuzangpo, Kuntuzangmo. There's another one you sometimes put in the middle. Varutana. So this mandala is how your saw pattern as a Homo sapien is arranged, your energy channels. Your karmic quirks are contained in the energy channels. Your energy channels don't end at your skin. They're interpenetrating and interacting with your entire universe. So karma is not just inside you. There's the group karma and the karma outside of you and the way your karma affects him and his karma affects you, and it's all rolling in together as a giant bilbla. Bilbla means entanglement. Sometimes this entanglement in the fourth time is referred to as Indra's net. I'm trying to give you a picture of what we're doing here with this bardo, an actual understanding of the theories behind it. So when your red element and white element came together in the heart encapsulated and you experienced the first bardo, they then left, hopefully through the top of your head, and while that was processing, you experienced the second bardo. Now it's reforming you an actual bardo body. The form you have in the second bardo is an illusion. It's not real. Or not, none of it's real. It's less real than some of the others. It's just a habit body. You think you have it because you've always had it. Now you're going to form a proper bardo body. Be born into the bardo. As the air or the chi, as the channel pattern creates and the chi enters it, it squeaks like this. No chi, soundless. You will interpret that sensation of the squeak. There's a reason I carry all these strange things with me. You will interpret that squeak as sensations, feelings, emotions, colors, sounds. And it's very intense because you got a lot of karma you're carrying. So as every little quirk reinflates, the experience is there. It arises in the order of center, blue space, white air, yellow earth, red fire, green water. And then they dance all together. The word awareness, rigpa, has a literal meaning. Rig is the verb to see. Pa is the er suffix. The see-er is the awareness. You want to find your awareness, it's what's looking out from behind your eyes. Actually, what's looking out from your heart through the channels that come up and go out the eyes. That's your rigpa, your seer. Tibetan makes things very simple in the original. So, in this bardo, you have experiences of great intensity, of color, shape, sound, taste, texture, and emotion. So with blue space, you can't move. You're paralyzed. You're overwhelmed. With the white of air, you are angry and terrified. With the yellow of earth, you want. With the red of fire, you want to fuck it. You're so lonely. Is anybody out there? With the green of air, you want to climb on top of it, get above it. You're better than it. And as they all happen together, all these emotional sensations, plus all the possible tactile sensations, all the possible taste sensations, smell sensations, occur all at once. To achieve liberation in this bardo, you need to let it eat you. You need to go forth into the brightest, most intense part of it and not hold back while it ostensibly destroys you. You need to give up your survival reflex. You see, it was much easier in the first bardo, wasn't it? Where you just had to sit in shine. Hang in shine a while and then let go of yourself into shine. Not too bad in the second bardo where you got to call for help. It's getting harder. Some of you may be able to do this, to let the intensity totally overwhelm you and overcome you. Not terribly common, though. If you would like to read more details of what it looks like and the details of how it appears and what it does, you'll find that in the Tibetan Book of the Dead. I'm not giving you the details, I'm giving you the overview. Because frankly, from my times in the bardo, I never do remember the details. I just remember the feeling of the different bardos. So I actually have to text reference it to give you the details. You probably won't remember it either. So better you know what to do with it and recognize it than try to memorize every little detail of what color is now and what it means and all of that. Make sense? Any questions about the third bardo? Yes.
How are you feeling, by the way? Are you improving a little bit?
Slowly, day by day, I'm reinflating.
Okay, good.
I kind of had a flat tire for a week or so.
That's good. For someone who is not Tibetan, you said that we can still assist with the dying process, and they might be more inclined towards someone like Jesus or whoever they're.
Catholics will usually go for Mother Mary, especially if they're guys.
Of course, Mary. I guess the question really is, if someone wants to prepare in this way, would focusing on mandala and these working with your emotions and these sort of intense states of being still be helpful?
Hell
Though
yes.
someone doesn't at all believe in this, the rest of the ethos that is kind of wrapped up in it.
Learning how to deal with your emotions and how to not be led around like a cow with a nose ring by your thoughts would be useful to anyone, regardless of their religious leanings.
So that would be the practice that would be recommended for someone who wants to be in a better way, I guess, or have.
Yeah,
better chances.
it's real useful around here too. A lot less road rage.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Not easy, has to be taught in a certain order, but I do the retreats. I offer working with thoughts, which come with pointing out. I offer working with feelings, which is another weekend retreat I do online, and working with phenomena, which can only be done after the first two, because you use the skills developed in the first two on the third. And that I have been pretty much mostly doing in person, because people get tangled up in it.
Which one was that?
Working with phenomena,
Which comes after the.
which
working
comes
with
after
thoughts
feelings,
and
which comes
feelings.
after thoughts.
And is phenomena a synonym for perceptions? Working
Yes.
with perceptions? Okay. And what do you notice is distinct from that, that's harder to learn?
Oh, people like to impose a worldview on it. Because part of the instructions are to go in and out an assortment of worldviews. People like to grab one and then they don't want to come out again.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Now we have another question up here. Stick your hand up. She can't see you.
Is there any technology that exists that can simulate moving through that third bardo, so we can, because I know experiencing over sensations, emotions, thoughts, like practice, besides practicing visualizing. And
I
as
have
we're doing
never
here-
heard of a technology that simulates that. I find, just figuring out what it is that fizzes an individual and sending them out to go practice it.
Yeah,
We all have something.
true.
I mean, I could practice it myself simply by doing personal interviews for all 50 of you. As an autistic person, that would definitely fizz me by the end, but I still got to get on an airplane eventually, and I would not be able to. You should have seen me after Mardi Gras. I smelled like burning insulation for a week. That was a fizz. I was there, but I was not down in that neighborhood. Oh, yeah. Oh, glad you got missed.
So as I was doing the practices earlier today and last night, I felt like the third bardo was what I personally kept on getting stuck on, where either I would start to enter the third bardo and then I would either wake back up or would start to drift too far into sleep, or a variety of other things that I feel like kept on knocking me out of the third bardo. Is it just a matter of practice to maintain and push through the third bardo, or are there other
Work
things
your
I
way
can
through
do?
practicing with emotions,
Okay.
the retreat. That will give you at least a few more skills to work with in the third bardo. It definitely works with the same mandala again and again.
Thank you.
We have questions over here.
Two questions. On this one, the solution, if you will, is the disintegration of an apparent structure. You just let it take you.
Yep.
Okay. Is that,
Your apparent structure.
is it akin to the dissolution of ego?
Yes, you could compare it to that verbally. That's a good analogy. But it doesn't go all the way. But it is an excellent as an analogy.
And the next question is differentiating, is this a bardo?
Absolutely.
What would be the next question to ask on that?
I don't know.
I don't even. How does one differentiate then? Or does it matter?
It doesn't matter. One foot in front of the other, placed with kindness and open-hearted open-mindedness. If you want it in a nutshell, just do that. Okay, let me take you the one online, and then I'm coming to you.
So the online question is, can bodhisattvas help us in the bardo?
If you have a karmic relationship with them, yes. If the karma for that to occur does not exist, no. Okay, your turn, Gabby. Ah.
So I'm really glad he was kind of pointing at, the disillusion of self, which, at least to me, the solutions, I like the way you put it, to solve each bardo, so to speak, is, okay, cast yourself away.
Without force, if you shove, it shoves back. So you cannot shove your ego away. This will cause a constriction and a sproing. You have to release it and allow it to evaporate, dissipate, which is very different from casting it away. Be careful of that,
Yeah,
or you'll end up in a wrestling match with it.
As we all know, getting rid of the self or trying to dissipate the self is very impossible or difficult, if not
Don't
impossible.
even
Yeah.
try that.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
So the main question is, it almost sounds easy when given the solutions, which we all know even during meditation, it's hard to just not even let the thoughts be so intrusive. But in regards to that, of trying to, I guess, dissolve the self peacefully in order to benefit, all beings, I guess it would be an opinion question. Attaining liberation through these solutions is some people might look at that as a goal, but as far as going back and coming and being reborn to continue to help sentient beings,
It's not either or. Oh, first of all, you are under the illusion that you have a self that you need to get rid of. This is an error. You do not. Oops. And you are fighting to throw away, like putting down a piece of sticky tape while wearing medical gloves, this illusion of self that was never even there. It's making you very distracted from the actual practice, so you might as well leave yourself alone. Let it be whatever it is. Stop wrestling with the damn thing, your ego, yourself, whatever. You're not going to get rid of something which was here any more than you will make the moving stop moving or the stillness move. Even in Trultra Naljor, the dance of moving stillness, the dancing stillness, the dancing stillness, the yoga of dancing stillness, Trultra Naljor. Even there, that which has never moved does not move, and that which is moving is not still. It is rather recognizing that among that which is moving, there is nothing which ever has moved, does move, or will move, and in the stillness there is nothing there to be still. Therefore, neither are real, both are illusions, and you might as well let go. And then, completing that, you can enter Laktong, direct seeing, the next stage of meditation. And Mahamudra talk. You're not there yet, don't try it. So, with all this self, and you think you're going to get rid of yourself, you're not. First of all, look, have you ever seen a Lama without a personality? Ever, anywhere? Ever read about one in the history books? Guru Rinpoche had a personality. Gautama had a personality. He had a son that drove him crazy named Rahula, and other such. So stop wrestling with an illusionary ego. There was never anybody in there. Simply relax about it. Don't keep trying to make it perfect, this illusory self. If you can stop trying to perfect it and leave it alone however it is, eventually, with any luck, you will notice there was just a clump of tumbleweed drifting through time, shedding bits and gathering bits of garbage as it blew down the empty street. And there was nobody in there, and there never was, and don't sweat it. So I highly recommend you don't wrestle with non-self. It's a will-o'-the-wisp, and it'll just distract you from the real practice. If you're looking at one taste and trying to figure that out, it has much more to do with the lack of dichotomy between subject and object. You want to look at how the object that you are interacting with is creating you and how you made up that object. I made this to be ice water. I made it up. I could just as easily have made it into vodka, and occasionally do when I'm in the mood. When I make it into vodka, it gets me tipsy. So it affects me, and I affect it. There's no separation between me and that. We're making each other up. So what's the worry about? Have I answered your question? Any other questions on this one?
Earlier, with my earlier question, when you recommended that I meditate on emotional awareness, I was wondering if specifically meditation on awareness of awareness itself, or meditation on specific emotions like the 5 poisons would help me out in this process.
If you are trained in how to do so, they will help you, but it is easy to simply dwell on them, thinking you're meditating on them, without having been taught the tricks. So I highly recommend you get that teaching. It is in text-wise, if you're a text reader. Flight of the Garuda, chapter somewhere between 11 and 14. You'll find that. That's the short version. You can do a retreat with me for the long version, and it may be online somewhere, as I think I have been asked enough questions and taught it occasionally, but not the full retreat. The full retreat experience you got to sign up for. Doesn't cost anything. You just sign up for it and then turn up on Zoom, and we do it 2 or 3 sessions of a weekend, plus you go practice.
Thank you.
The trick has to do with getting the emotion naked first. If you can't strip it effectively, truly, all the way naked, not even its underwear, it won't do it. It can't. It's just like while wearing a corset, you cannot fully expand yourself. You can't take in all that deep breath while wearing a corset. You can't really dance that well in spiked heels either, or walk on cobblestones. When you release it to its naked state, it can do these things. It can dance on cobblestones and take a deep breath. But you got to get it all off, and that's the trick that needs a lot of practice. What? Your anger is supported by a story. There's something you're angry at. You have to have the ability to recognize the nature of a thought while you think it, in order to cause the thoughts to dissipate while you are thinking them, leaving the anger naked without even a name. No. So we'll let that one go by. I'm not going to repeat it. You actually need the class. It's given by William on Saturdays online.
Yeah, I took the training with you, and it was really helpful. And even if you don't get the whole thing, it's still like a relief to be able to work with.
Yeah, if you want a little help with stripping it naked, go to William's Saturday class. He's really quite good at that. And he's just working with thoughts, pure and simple. Find him on the website. He's on the schedule there. It's a sign up and you get an email invitation. It's on Zoom. And it's the first step of this.
Yeah, my question is, the kleshas that we encounter in this,
What are kleshas in Tibetan?
kleshas are mental afflictions.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, our mental, oh, sorry.
I don't speak Sanskrit.
Oh, okay, okay. I'm just trained that way, so it came out. So are those, I know they're illusory, and you just talked about stripping them away as you're embarking on the death process. Sometimes it's hard to find words that aren't limiting, right? Is that the degree of mental afflictions or emotions you'll experience in the bardo based on what our karma was here? Or does that play into when you said karma doesn't affect?
There was a lot of
body and-
karma that you couldn't experience here. For instance, a karma for prostate cancer. You can't. That's hanging out, but you're not experiencing it. You don't even know about it. So more than you're having here. Here is limited by circumstance. A female body only gets certain issues. Male body only gets certain issues. Things can't happen. You can't get uterine cancer, guys. You can get prostate cancer, but you can't get uterine cancer, and they don't switch off in karma. So there's all sorts of things that you can't experience as a Homo sapien because you're limited to certain sense organs, and yeah, there's so much. Yes, please.
We actually have two that are similar, so I'm going to combine them. Are there established instructions for liberation in this bardo, or is it too uncommon? Does Chud prepare us for this bardo? Is Zitro practice helpful for the people who transitioned?
Zitro is very helpful for the people who transition. You have to know how. Chud helps you let go. Remember, in each of the previous bardos, there was a point where if you can let go here, you're liberated. Chud teaches you to let go. It is a very powerful practice, perhaps the most powerful practice of allowing you to let go of your survival reflex. You cut your head off. That is very counter-survival. You learn how to let go, and you don't just sit in your nice room with your fancy equipment doing chud. You go out to truck stops in places to do it. Truck stops can be scary. We used to do Punjabi truck stops when there were no good charnel grounds nearby. You know, go do it in the middle of an ice raid. Do it in a scary place. Go down to a biker bar. Do chud. That's how it works. You let go of the survival reflex. Start camping, okay? A nice campsite. Alone. BLM land.
Yes. You always prompt a seed in me to share something, so I hope everybody's patient with that. Last week we were floating down the I told some people, floating down the current river, and there was a swirl, because there's been a lot of rains, all over, obviously floods. So there was a moment I and my dog got caught in the swirl, and it was really interesting how calm in the middle. I didn't feel like I was going to die, but I was gauging. I don't know. There was this expansive feeling of like, okay, what to do, a choice to make, and I'm blanking on what you said that prompted me to tell you this story.
I told you to do chud in scary places.
Yes. So, okay, thank you. So that was, my other half was very scared, and I don't know, usually I have fear around stuff in this life. But at that point, it was just like surrender, let go, however it's going to unfold. So we got stranded, and we were in cold, wet bathing suits, and just transforming that scary experience, because it got dark, because trees were underneath the river, and the power of the river. So we just said, okay, let's just sleep in the kayak, we'll cuddle the dog, stay warm, just like plan B, plan C, plan D, plan E. It's like all available to us if we let go. That's what I'm trying to say.
How about the last bardo, guys? That's a short explanation. So, first bardo, clear light, dharmata. Second bardo, choices, pure land. Third bardo, Dhyani Buddha's intensity. Head into it, let go. The trick on each of these three bardos is let go. Relax. Let go. Let it be as it is. That's always the trick. Now we're in the bardo of the 48 peaceful and 51 fierce. The peaceful come first. The peaceful archetypes are the tsa, the energy channels out of your heart chakra. Your heart chakra is forming. This is still the formation of your bardo body. Now your heart chakra is forming. And those are the dance of the energies of your heart chakra. Peaceful, loving, but big, bright. If you recognize your yidam, if you have done a lot of Chenrezig practice, Green Tara practice, Kriya Tantra even, on those two. All of the peaceful archetypes of the heart, symbols of the loving kindness, in vast intensity and great complexity. The light is, they still arise in the families, the 5 families of the 5 Dhyani Buddhas. But the complexity of this, and they arise in the same order as the Dhyani Buddha, bardo. The colors is the same order. But it's just so much more complex, and it's got stuff in it. The previous one was just lights. You might not interpret that as anything but light and sensation. It's too overwhelming to really find form. Here you see the form. Shapes. Discs, something that looks like infinite flapping cloth. Colors and shapes, as if you were falling through a microscope lens into what's in a puddle, microscopically seen, all those little shapes and squiggles and things, only incredibly bright. And within those shapes are the shapes of the symbolic archetypes with all their colors and accoutrements and what they're wearing, what they're standing on, and their mandalas around them. The sheer complexity of this is overwhelming. If you recognize one of them, oh my God, it's my friend, and you reach out to it, it will absorb you into it. You have to reach out, grasp, and let go and become. If you miss it on those, you get the mixed ones. Kurukuli is one of the mixed ones, speech chakra, chakra of intent. She comes out in her half peaceful, half wrathful, or half, I call it fierce, because wrathful means having righteous anger. They don't got no righteous anger. They're just fierce, like a mama bear with cubs. Yeah, they'll swat you if you get near the cubs, but who wouldn't? You would if something got near your cubs. So, they arise in disks and circles and infinite complexity. If you recognize your alternate ego, the yidam you have identified with, or if you've just done Kriya Tantra, your friend, Tara that you've lain your head in the lap of while going to sleep, Chenrezig that you have practiced the mantra of for the sake of others and embraced and have trust for. Just reach out to it. Let it reach out to you and take you in. That's the only way out here. The fierce ones are harder. Looks like monsters. I mean, look at Rahula or Ekazati. Unless you recognize that that's a friend of yours, you're gonna run like fuck. Things with eyes all over its belly and in the head of its penis coming towards you. You're gonna run. Something with a laughing head of a horse sticking out of its head and colors and weapons in its hands. Of course you're gonna run. So the only way through in this bardo is to have practiced Tantra. Strongly. Enough to instantaneously and automatically recognize the archetypes, your yidam. And to have practiced it enough that you recognize them for what they are, aspects, projections of your own chakra, the colors of your own chakra, the shapes of the natural shape of the flickering vitality of your own channel. And so have no reason to fear or fight with or object to. So that means you practice Tantra for that bardo. Questions on the fourth bardo? We have one in the back, way back in the corner.
So when we were practicing the fourth bardo, I saw green Tara, and I was doing the green Tara mantra, but I oopsed it. Like,
But you what?
I oopsed it. Like, she reached out to me, and I didn't know what to do.
Reach out back.
And so I didn't, so she moved on. And then the yidam that I've been working with that I've had a hard time finding someone to do the one on is Nam Gyalma. And she came at me. And I saw all three faces, and I'm like, hey, you, I know you. And she reached out to me, and this time I took her hand. But I thought I did it wrong because all of a sudden, it was like I had the three faces, but I could not remember her mantra at all. Like, it was like my brain was not working. I was just...
That's okay. All that is saying is that you need to continue the practice.
Thank you.
Well done. Keep going. You might try running her mantra 24/7 for 3 days to a week. Just under your breath without anybody really knowing it, but just keep it running. That should make the implant so that even in one of those brain fugues, it will still come up. Anyone else with questions on the fourth bardo? Okay, the fifth bardo, the bardo of becoming. Gabby, is there a bit more water? Oh, you're the doing the water for me. Thank you. So the fifth bardo, the bardo of becoming. Now you have a full bardo body. You've got all your chakra, it's all reformed. You didn't, in the formation process, you didn't. So you're there, all the way in. You will experience dreams here. They will change you just as experiences in life have changed you. Because of the flexibility here, it happened, and because time is stretched, for the first week you are there, you might feel like you've been there for years, like you've lived a whole life, like you've done all sorts of things, like you have changed a great deal from the person who entered. Good book on how much one can change. Book by science fiction by Jack Chalker. Very much feels like the bardo of becoming. For those who are having trouble imagining this bardo, you might go have a look. The one that's based on people enter a video game and then they have many lives in the video game, and then are they still in the video game or are they not, and they escape from the video game, but then maybe it's still the video game, and it's actually quite interesting, and I can't remember the name. But the author is Jack Chalker. If someone online knows those books and wants to put the name up, you go right ahead. So you change. You're not the same person that died anymore. You're a different person by the end of the first week. You've changed. You have lots of experiences. It's like dream upon dream. So if you died with great joy and happiness, but didn't make it out in any of the bardos and feeling full of love, but you might be really pissed off by the end of that first week at the dreams you've had, the illusions that have happened. And so this time you die pissed off at the end of the week. And in that pissed offed state, you become something meaner, say a predator, a hawk, a leopard, whatever you were kind of becoming, sort of. And then you have dreams as such. And you keep changing for 49 days until you get to what you're going to be reborn as. You don't remember your teachings here. You're going on instinct. If you can remember to keep taking refuge through all the dreams, or to keep glancing with Gom if you're a Dzogchenpa, or to keep calling on your Yidam if you're a Tantrika, and maintain your Tantric practice through all the dreams. And the sign of being able to do that is being able to do it all night. Can you remember to do Gom quick glances in your sleep? Can you remember to, when things happen in your sleep and emotions arise, can you remember to leave them be and not act on them? This is the hardest one to do anything with. So now what's going to happen, you've got your full karmic weight on you. As you enter the bardo of becoming is usually where you experience visions of being judged. You judge yourself. But you may imagine you go before a symbolic judge who weighs your collection of white stones and black stones, or weighs your feather and it has to be heavier than the stone on the other end of the scale. There's all these different symbols that you might have. Basically, you will judge yourself. And by your judgment of yourself will be where the dreams go. There's a lot of sensations of storm, of lack of safety, of turmoil. There could be emotional storm, roaring, raging rivers, a hurricane, wild winds, floodings, all sorts of things, symbolic of the turmoil of your karma. And eventually, you will try to run from this turmoil by hiding in something. And the symbol of what you hide in is a sign of where you're going to be reborn. But don't count on really being able to tell what it is. A seashell might lead to a lovely birth beside the sea as a fisherman. Of course, you're going to kill a lot of fish, and so that may not last. Dreams of and taking shelter in under a rock might lead to becoming a geologist or a snake. So you can't really tell what it's going to do by what you go and hide under or in. Your best bet here is to remember your refuge, to remember Dharma again and again in whatever form. Good luck. I highly recommend you make a plan before this happens. Any questions on the fifth bardo, the bardo of becoming? The Wonderland Gambit. The Wonderland Gambit, yes, okay. Read that, you'll get an idea of what the bardo of becoming might feel like to go through these changes and become different things like that. It's a lot of book, but if you're a reader and you read sci-fi just for recreation anyway, that one will give you a feel for what this is, which you may find useful. Don't know that it'll give you any skills worth anything for working with it, but it'll give you a feel for you, so you can think about it and be even more determined to find methods before then. Other questions? Yes. Oh, there you are.
So you said in this fifth bardo, we really need to make a plan. Could you say a little bit more about that? Like what
you make a plan previous to the fifth bardo. There's not much you can do by the fifth bardo. Your best bet there is that your practice was strong enough that you'll remember it even in that turmoil. If it is, you will remember it in the bardo of dreams. If you don't, you might want to practice a bit more. But please, you all, practice the practice you actually like. Don't try to make yourself practice the practice you don't like, because you won't do it well. Or do what the Tibetans do. When you practice, pick something that you don't let yourself have all the time. A donut hole, a piece of really fine, expensive chocolate. And And when you do your daily practice, after you do it, have the chocolate so that you can, or sometime during, so that you can associate your practice with the endorphins released by something wonderful. We do that with the little kids. Whenever we take them to temple, we always give them something delicious. We never bring a child to temple without giving them something delicious. Kids like sweets, so it's usually, a cookie or something. But, some kids like chili peppers, so it's like a momo and chili sauce. The Bhutanese kids eat chili peppers like candy. No, they really do. If you've got kids, always give them a sweet when you bring them to temple, or it doesn't have to be a sweet, something they like. It can be a savory, depends on the kid. Really makes a difference. They don't know why they feel endorphins in the temple by the time they're grown up, but they do because it's Pavlovian. They're habituated to feel the endorphins that kids get from a little tasty whenever they enter a table, just like dogs salivate with a bell. Do it to yourself. You should have some sweets or coffee cake over there. Excellent. I'm going to say, you guys, if you go on regular Sundays, do bring a treat to share sometimes. Not every time, but each person one time, so that there'll be something tasty at the temple, something to delight people. I'll take it.
How would training in Kriya and Anuttara Tantra be different in this bardo?
In this bardo, you might remember, and in one of the dreams run into the Tara, or whoever you'd been training with in Kriya Tantra. And she might take your hand and bring you to a house and say, you should live here. The rain's going to get worse. You should stay here until the rain stops. That's going to be a nice rebirth where you will be of great benefit to sentient beings. If you can remember to ask or look for a shelter where you can benefit others, you'll do fine. You'll get a good rebirth where you can be of great benefit to others. If you can remember and make that a habit, so you better make it a habit around here. If you remember it in the first week well, it'll ride all the way through. Unless you have some real extreme karma that you're going to trip over. You never know what you have been in past lives. I've been some really crappy things. Oh, Lord, never mind. I'll take another. Oh, yeah, after this one online, I'll take the live one.
What things should be avoided at the bardo of becoming?
Killing, attempting to harm, all of the things that should be avoided in this life to avoid creating more negative karma should be avoided in the bardo of becoming, because you will become the results of those things rather quickly. So if you do a lot of killing there because you think you're being attacked, yeah, you might. If you tend to think you're being attacked around here, that everybody's mean to you and they're attacking you verbally, you get in there and you might imagine it with weapons. If you got a paranoid streak, it might come out. And so then you're going to fight back and you're going to kill them all. And then you're likely to be born as something like a hawk or a obligate carnivore, a predator, a lion, a jackal, depending on other karma. And then you're going to spend a whole life killing. And now you're in deep shit. Or you do a lot of killing there and it goes on, and you're going to fall into the receiving hell, the first hell everybody hits. And there you are born fully grown with some form of body, armed, and other armed people come and attack you. If you fight back and kill and are killed, you will fall into lower and lower bardos. The only trick to get out of there is to sit there and let them kill you. Sound easy? Could you do it? If you remembered where you were, if you knew you were in the bardo, in the receiving naraks, because you'd had a really serious oops, and you were in deep shit, and the only way out was to not react and let him kill you, you could probably do it. But it's highly unlikely you will remember that, just as last time you got pissed off in a dream. You didn't remember working with emotions. Other questions? There was a live question in the back.
In the event of a sudden death, is there a way to slow down the bardos so that you can work with them?
It will be just as slow. The only thing that's going to go faster is the absorption of the elements. Once the elements have absorbed and the encapsulation has occurred, even if the body is harvested for its organs, if you're an organ donor, you died in a car crash, they're going to harvest the organs. It's on your driver's license, like it's on mine. That's okay. You can still go out in the first bardo if you know how. The time it lasts, seen from outside, will be short, but the time it lasts seen from inside is infinite.
Thank you.
A question about dreams. For the last couple of years, I've had a blue basically a blue wrathful it was a blue wrathful dakini in my dreams, and I didn't know what it was, and later I found out it's something called trauma, and I saw it on like trucks, pictures of trucks driving by with this thing, and then 2 weeks ago I had another one, and it's been very infrequent, and my personal yidam is green Tara, so
But you
why
have
am
a
I
friend, a protector.
well, it doesn't seem, yeah, it does feel protective, but I'm just saying it's wrathful.
Oh, yeah. She's a good friend to have. She's fierce, not wrathful. She doesn't have righteous anger, which is wrath in English. She's fierce. She will protect you like you are her cub. So learn more about her. Learn her mantra, practice her, find the Wong. She's, Troma Nangmo is often a chud form, as well as a protector. So you would practice her in chud. That would be a very good practice for you to learn eventually.
So I don't have to do like a whole cycle, like some lamas recommend, like 3 years to do, I think,
The
it's like
Nundro?
dakini. Yeah, the Nundro.
I
and
do
then
not force that. This will vary according to different lamas. For some people, anybody over 50, I think it's a little silly to make them do a whole Nundro for teenagers. I highly recommend it for anyone between the ages of about 14 and 25 or 6. Past there, it depends. In Dzogchen, we have other forms of nundro and other things that are done instead. So you really only need the extraordinary nundro if Tantra will be your main practice. And even then, when you're coming to it young, yes, it won't harm you if done later on. And sometimes I'll recommend that someone will do a certain part of it because they've run into a glitch and that's the way around. But you know, Dharma is not a bathrobe. One size doesn't fit all. So you really have to adjust this. So no, practice your yidam. If you can't do that, if it doesn't work for you and your protector, if there are problems with that, you know, go talk to a teacher and find out whether how those problems would best be solved. It might be a nundro or a portion of it, but it might be something else also. The only thing I really suggest you do is the ordinary nundro, and that's in books, that you just read that. Familiarize yourself with the concepts of impermanence, of full human rebirth, full human opportunity, which not all Homo sapiens have, of what it is really that hurts around here. What is suffering? How does it happen? And how karma works. These are worthwhile things to read up on. I don't insist people do that, but I highly recommend it. I'm not a you gotta do this teacher, and not my style. I am a, well, if you don't do this, this other thing probably won't work, but you're welcome to give it a try. Try not to hurt yourself or do yourself a mischief in the process. Or I'm not teaching you that. You can't do that yet. You got to do this first. But I'm not going to tell you not to go get it someplace else and give it a try. So my attitude toward nundro is a lot more flexible. I did it, but I was trained traditional. You guys are Injis. It's different. Can't train you traditional. You won't do it. You want to understand how everything works. And if you were Tibetan, you'd just memorize it and be done with it. I'm offering another option. And there are other teachers that offer other options. You just got to browse around. Oh, and being a teacher is not a monogamous relationship, okay? You get to have lots of them.
Two questions again. One, typically, how often do people transition and are not aware that they're dead or transitioning?
Yeah, 20, 30%.
Okay.
Maybe 20% don't notice and somebody has to go tell them. Usually it's sudden. A guy has a heart attack running for a train, spends the next while ghosting, running for a train. He's not even got a bardo body yet. He's still in his illusory body, running for the train.
Okay. I see dead people. Okay.
So that does happen.
The next one is baby boomer, approaching home stretch. You talked a little bit about it, but as a minimum, from your point of view, what to cultivate? What would be helpful and useful?
Cultivate your Buddha nature by whatever method you like. Was that loud enough?
All right.
I think I may be running a bit out of steam. We'll take a couple more, and then we're going to close for today because we're at more than 2 hours. Do you understand the teaching that you can work with it and practice it? That That's what we were wanting. Now, who had the question out here?
I just comment. I was taught hearing is the last to go when you're transitioning, and could you, somebody assisting somebody dying or being present for that, chaplain? Does it
Hearing is after earth, water element. At least my understanding, it's the sense of the water element. I'd have to look that up to be sure. So you'll cool a bit after, and then you'll stop breathing. Air element is the last to go. Breath, breathing. And that has to do with feelings, emotions. The ability to think and feel. That's breathing. The chi, it's still moving in the channels. So when fire element goes, your lust for life goes. Once the fire element is starting to go, you don't really mind dying. There's no longer a, I don't want to. Gut level. Water and hearing go after sight, after earth element, after you can't move, you can still hear. But I don't know what you mean by last. Touch is still there.
I'm just recalling when my brother was passing, and I remember my teachers calling me saying, remember the Dharma, what you're saying, remember what you know, remember what you know. It's so, and I stayed with the body overnight. My mom obviously had her reaction, but I was just like, because I really was taught that, so I was like whispering in his ear, go, we'll be okay, go in
Yes.
peace, we love you, you're on your next journey. And right before he died, they came in and they said, your lungs are filled with tumors. And he yelled at the nurse. So I want to make sure that he didn't, have a bad bardo.
If he was still able to yell, that was not the last thing that happened.
Okay. And then he goes, okay, let's go. Then he was like, all right, here we go. Here's the ride.
Yeah, that's okay. That was probably just a little spasm of chi. She went and interrupted. You got one online? Okay,
Yeah.
You're the last one, honey.
Does the first bardo pass by quickly for people not trained in Trekchud or Mahamudra? Is not clearly recognized.
Yes, it passes by in about the amount of time it takes to eat a meal. So you Americans are kind of into fast food. That's not very long. It takes longer for a Frenchman. That was a joke. Ye wandi nyur du da chi chi sala go parshu. We are complete for today, ladies and gentlemen.